everyone, it's Kara Dixon with Candid with Kara, and we are doing our interviews virtual because we are trying to practice social distancing during the coronavirus pandemic, but there is still an election, so we wanted to make sure you all know who you will be voting for. And today we have Dr. George Yacus. George, how are you doing?
Hey, it's a fine day today. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. And thank you so much for having me on your program.
Yeah, of course. Can you tell me what you're running for?
Okay, I am a candidate, a Republican candidate in the Virginia's 3rd Congressional District. I have 2 other competitors for the primary on June 23rd. And then hopefully if I win that primary, I'll be going up against Bobby Scott in November.
Okay, and who is George? How would you describe yourself to someone who's never met you before?
Okay, well, I'm in a rock and roll band called the Fun Doctors, so I consider myself a fun doctor. I have a PhD in management. I also consider myself an MD, a management dude, so that's kind of fun. But I guess to describe myself, I'd say I was 20 years in the Navy, a Naval Academy graduate, and really enjoyed that. I was a helicopter pilot. After 20 years there, I worked with the federal government for 20 years doing things for the Coast Guard and also doing things for the Department of Energy, which I just left in January. Right now, I was watching what was going on in the government, and I said, I'm ready for my next endeavor. I think I can represent the people of the 3rd District well, and so right now, I am a candidate, but I'm a pretty well-rounded guy. I teach college, I do all sorts of things. I play in a band, have a Harley motorcycle, so a lot of different things, a lot of different activities.
So you retired in January?
Yes, from the federal government.
Did you expect to be spending your retirement like this at home and,
Not at all. This is like the strangest particular environment I can describe. I thought, well, I'm going to just retire and everything's going to be fine. It's going to be fun. All of a sudden, we got under house arrest and lockdown, and then also, I couldn't travel anywhere. And then deciding to run for a political office at the House of Representatives. So nothing is normal. This is like totally, as they'd say on Seinfeld, this is bizarro world right now. And I'm right in the middle of it, but I'm enjoying it.
And, what makes you stand out from the other guys you're running against? What makes you different? Why should people vote for you?
Well, I think that when you send someone to Washington, first of all, values is what counts. So I think that I've got a value set. I just finished making 4 videos this week on my website, but one of them talks about values and character. And I'm an elder in my church. I've been an elder for 18 years. Judeo-Christian principles are very important for me. So we watch a lot of shenanigans going on in Congress. So I think having that character and, 10 Commandments types of moral values is important. Then the second thing I think is the military experience is important, because if you're going to be looking at sending our men and women off to war, somebody should know what it's like, what it's about, and the risks that are involved, and what a grave decision that is. The third thing I think is being able to be a federal employee. I was working with all these agencies. I would be doing budgeting. I would be doing oversight. Writing reclamas to the budget in Congress. So you need somebody who knows something about the federal government, I think. I think that's really important. And finally, the fourth thing I think that gives me an edge, or I hope to have an edge on, is academics. I have been teaching since 1998. And my management is my basic topic that I've been teaching, but also ethics and international business and labor management relations and a whole bunch of other courses that I also have listed. And I think having that toolbox is important, because when you go to Congress and you've got some kind of legislation that's out there, you should know something about the background and some of the laws that exist in these areas.
Okay. Are you ready for the rapid fire questions?
I'm ready for the rapid fire questions. Bring them on.
Awesome. The first question, what is the biggest issue our country is facing right now?
Now, this is funny, because I was looking at this week, I'm thinking, well, this must be a trick question. We're all locked down with the coronavirus. If I don't say coronavirus, you're going to say, that's the biggest issue we're facing right now. And yes, it is, as an individual issue. But if I was to frame it into a larger context, I would say that we have 2 opposing worldviews in America. We have the worldview of Judeo-Christian ethics, limited government, a lot of the things that the Republican Party deals with, and capitalistic free market systems, and not spending too much. And then diametrically opposed to that, we have a secular, humanist type of point of view, which is, there and saying that heading towards socialism, I guess you would say. So we've got these two factions that there's this dynamic tension that constantly exists almost in any kind of issue, even with coronavirus. Some people are saying, hey, this was unconstitutional. You shouldn't have locked us down, and you should have let us make our own, take our own risk management into account. And the other people are there saying, no, we've got to follow the government. We got to lock it down. We got to have legal penalties if people don't obey, and the bigger government should be controlling the folks. So these are the two diametrically opposed ideas, and we're just seeing it in the coronavirus issue.
All right, next question. Very similar to the first question. What is the biggest issue Virginia is facing right now?
I think Virginia has there's the same dynamic tension. As the Democrats have taken over the legislature with a Democratic governor, they're undoing or changing all the things that the other worldview people currently had. Whether it's gun control or gun rights or right to work state type of things or equal rights amendment or whatever that may be. So Virginia is facing the same, on a local issue, but it's that same dynamic tension between these two major worldviews. I'll just call it the capitalist versus a socialist type of worldview, but it's really not that. But that's just a good label, I guess. It's convenient. So I think Virginia has that particular problem, and I would say one of the most important things is that we have to be able to stand firm. We have to. My big three issues are business, borders, and budget. I think we have to have a good business climate so we can continue to thrive and grow, and our economy grows. We have to have our borders knocked down so we don't have crime and a lot of expenses and drugs coming in. And then the budget is the important thing. We have to stop spending so much money, and because it's not sustainable.
Okay, third question. If you're elected, what do you hope to get accomplished?
I think what I envision, a lot of people say, well, I'm going to go to Congress and I'm going to get this bill passed or that bill passed. And it's really, and even when you look at Bobby Scott's 28 years, he really did not have a whole lot of legislation that he successfully introduced and got passed. So I think it's, I want to be realistic. I think the most important thing I can do is to represent with good character and good judgment. I'm not getting into political games, being able to serve the people in the 3rd congressional district. So I think it's making good choices, being discerning, being able to, support, business, borders, and budget in Virginia, and to be able to vote the way that the constituents want. Because a lot of times I think we have representatives that are not even looking at what the constituents in their own area desire.
Okay. Fourth question. Yes. Fourth question. What can residents do to make Virginia a better place to live in?
Well, I think it's kind of funny because I think I'm not going to be a popular guy. I think because I would be telling them, look, you've got to have your family unity intact. You have to have you should have a mother and a father in the household. You should be bringing up your kids right. You should be having good discipline at home. You should be getting your kids to go to school and succeed in school. You should be, not expecting federal handouts and bailouts because, we're not going to have the money for that. The best thing I think that people can do is raise their families well, be good citizens, and not expect the government to be able to support them. Because I think all the states right now that are having trouble, especially a lot of the liberal states, are going to be going bankrupt. They don't have enough money to get their to keep their budget, to make their budget.
Okay.
So that's not popular. People want free stuff, and I'm saying I don't think there's going to be free stuff around. So I think the best thing we can do is make Virginia grow and have a good economy, and do your personal part, and then create the climate here in Virginia that's going to make Virginia thrive.
Fifth question. These are a lot easier. What is your favorite book?
Okay, I thought you were going to ask my favorite color. It reminds me of Monty Python all the time. But as far as my favorite book, and again, it sounds like a trite answer, but I'm a Christian man. I am the Bible. Bible is my favorite book. I think the little title, Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth, that's what Bible stands for. And I cherish the Bible because it's the Word of God. It helps me decide what's right and wrong. It helps me to live my life and to be a good man and to just have a good set of values. I read it every year. I probably read it every year now for the last, 5-8 years. and it keeps me straight. And I have been rewarded for reading this book. I have a lot of other books out there. I've read them. I enjoy them, but that's my favorite.
All right. Next question. If you could meet anyone in history, who would it be and why?
I think it would be George Washington. I love George Washington, also carrying his name George. But this guy was a Virginian, but he got around all the places I've lived. He's kind of traveled around, and he made it all on horseback. I mean, I grew up in New Jersey. I lived on Washington Valley Road. His forces passed through there. I'm down here in Chesapeake, and he used to do, surveying down here and the Great Dismal Swamp. I think he owned a company. And then he was up in Pittsburgh where I lived. He was up there working with General Braddock. And Annapolis, where I went to school. He was there in New York City, right outside of where I used to live. And so he traveled a lot. He was a statesman, and he was a surveyor, and he was a farmer, and he was a businessman, and a president of the United States. Just an amazing, amazing father of our country.
You're the second person this Candid with Kara cycle to say George Washington. So, yeah. And I told them, like, I'll tell you, he actually got his first job in office where I'm originally from. So in Frederick County, Virginia, Winchester. Yeah. So
he did it all. I don't know how he got around and how he did it, but he did.
Yeah. And he was like the tallest person in the colonies. So I guess I had to look up to him physically, and just like, that's a great person to look up to. So, all right. The last question. When you were growing up, what did you think you were going to be?
I never really had a real clear vision as I was growing up, but I knew that by the time I was in high school, I wanted to go to the Naval Academy. I wanted to be in the Navy and be a pilot, and I got to do that. And then as I look back now, so many of the things that I wanted to do, I have done. I've run 7 marathons, and I've been in the federal government. And I've been a volunteer fireman. I play, and I'm a lead singer and a keyboard player in a rock and roll band that's still active and playing gigs. And so all these things that I enjoy doing, I'm still doing. And so I don't know if it was one major career thing. It was just a lot of activities, and I've gotten a chance to do them all. It's really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Annapolis is a great city. So
yes, it is.
I went to the University of Maryland, so I always.
A little bit of a, yes.
Yeah, they're like right down the road. So
yeah, neighbors. Yeah, sure.
And we'd always see like the Navy guys come down. Like we could always tell. We're like, oh, you go to the Naval Academy, don't you? And they're like, how do you know? We're like, we can tell.
You could read us like a book.
Are there any new hobbies you've picked up during quarantine, or
Well, now that I retired, I got a lot of stuff done here at home. I live on the water here in Chesapeake, so I got my fence fixed. I got a bulkhead repaired. I fixed a glider. So I do a lot of, I think what bothers me sometimes is you see people on the Supreme Court, or you see people in government, and they don't look anything like any of my neighbors or myself. I'm just a regular neighborhood kind of guy, whether it's welding or running a right angle grinder or mowing grass or just doing the basic, taking out the trash and doing basic stuff. That's the kind. I'm just a regular Joe, I guess you could say, and I'm not putting on any airs. And so I'm I'm somebody that's very much like you are here, living in a community and wants to see their government be excellent.
Now, can we talk a little bit more about this band you're in? Like how did you get involved with this? And like,
it's really funny. I finished my 20 years career in the Navy. And then I had my lead player, who is also from Chesapeake. One day he called me up when we were in a band in college called Danforth. In fact, we just played our 45th year reunion, and we all got together and played the music. It was really fun. And he said, "Hey, are you the same George Yacus that was in Danforth?" I said, "Yes, I am. So let's start a band." And I was getting ready to work on my PhD, and I said, PhD fund doctors. I'm going to call the band, try to make some extra money to be able to do the singing. And I have a Gary Weaver, who is our drummer, who's one of the best drummer I've ever played with. So we've been playing all sorts of things. We've done everything from like weddings. We were going to play the Polish Festival in Chesapeake until it got canceled here a couple of weeks ago. And we play at Moose Halls and just all sorts of events, private parties, and it's so much fun because the stuff that we play is just the same old stuff I grew up with. It's all that classic rock with the regular, recognizable name brand people and songs that people still want to hear.
That's awesome.
I couldn't find a bass player, so I started playing bass with the left hand, just like the Ray Manzarek of the Doors did. and we couldn't find a singer, so I started singing, and now I'm actually a pretty good singer. So compared to what I started as.
It worked out.
Never close your eyes. Okay.
What is your favorite song that you guys sing? Like what?
My favorite song we do is "Taking Care of Business." I think it's just, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them like Sweet Home Alabama and a bunch of other songs like that, a lot of Jimmy Buffett tunes and so forth. But I like Taking Care of Business because it's just a real fun rock and roll song. A lot of Doobie Brothers songs I really like as well. Long Train Running and China Grove and songs like that too.
Doobie Brothers is with Michael McDonald, right?
Yeah, yes. For a while, Michael McDonald was there, and Tom, somebody was also the lead singer. So those guys, they switched off over the years. Yes.
They sing, is it When Fools Believe? Is that one of their songs?
What a Fool Believes, yes.
Yeah, I know some of them. And then I go to karaoke a lot, so I always sing Separate Ways by Journey.
Mm-hmm. I like doing Bob Seger, Turn the Page, and just they're really good tunes. They're so much fun to listen and play. Never get tired.
That's awesome.
Well, the Fun Doctors, we've been playing them since 1974, so it's thefundoctors.com. If you want to see some shots and the songs that we play, and maybe if I don't get elected, maybe I can still get some gigs out of it.
If you don't get elected, we're going to get you a record deal.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Or I'm definitely going to look up those videos, and I might use some of them for this. That's awesome.
Well, I would just like to say that I really want to represent the district. I want to represent both parties, so it's not really a partisan issue, but I really do want to represent that Judeo-Christian founding fathers worldview that is so important, because I think if we stray from that, we are not going to succeed, and I think we're going to end up in bankruptcy. So I think that's why I want to go there and do that, and I want to serve my constituents.
All right. That was awesome. I hope you had fun.
I had fun. I'm a fun doctor. That's what I do.
The Fun Doctor. I guess my band name would be the Fun Reporter.
Mm-hmm.
The fun journalist. That's not as cool. Fun Doctor sounds better.
Yeah,
it's a good name. Well, we will have to check you guys out once all this is.
Should be playing the Polish Festival sometime here in a couple months down in Chesapeake.
I will be there. I'll be in the front with my camera.
Okay.